MEPs are voting this Wednesday on their response to a report by the veteran American Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein on the CIA's use of various torture techniques after the 9/11 attacks. Big issues of fundamental and human rights, as well as the complicity of several European states in rendering terrorism suspects, have surfaced. To discuss them, we brought together Charles Tannock from the European Conservatives and Reformist Group from the UK and Eva Joly, Green MEP from France. What for you is the worst aspect of this report?
Ce qui est de pire, c'est de voir les méthodes terribles d'interrogatoire qui ont été utilisées, qui sont de la torture. Et Mme Feinstein admet que la torture a été utilisée et elle dit quelque chose qu'il est important d'entendre, c'est que cette torture n'a servi à rien. Ils n'ont pas eu d'informations valables qu'ils n'auraient pas pu obtenir autrement.
The American Congress and Senate have basically exercised their right of scrutiny and oversight over the CIA, and they have condemned the use of enhanced interrogation techniques, things like waterboarding, which were allegedly permitted by signature executive order of the president at the time. And I welcome that. I think that's an exercise in transparency and openness, and Americans getting their own house in order in terms of fundamental tenets of human rights and democracy. But I won't go down the line of some members of this House who want to go on a sort of witch hunt against Americans, bashing the United States.
What in Europe should the next steps be, given the complicity of several member states in the CIA's activities?
Il y a des enquêtes à conduire dans les pays qui ont connu les centres de détention, comme la Pologne, la Roumanie et la Lituanie. Là, il y a eu des centres de torture sur le sol européen. Mais évidemment, il y a eu des auteurs dans ces pays qui ont conduit ces interrogatoires. Donc maintenant, c'est important qu'il y ait des enquêtes et qu'ils répondent de leurs actes.
This is a matter for each country, for their own judicial systems and their own national parliaments, and some of them are actually setting up committees of inquiry to look into the role of their governments and the role in which they cooperated with the CIA, and whether or not criminal laws were broken in the methods they used to render some of these individuals from their territory to third countries in the Arab world, or carry out interrogation techniques which were deemed to be illegal on their own territories. I really don't think that the European Union has a right to muscle in and, as it were, criticise member states.
Is there any justification at all for coercive interrogation techniques, particularly when you look at the rise of ISIS?
Je ne pense pas que la torture soit justifiée dans aucune circonstance. C'est dégradant pour la démocratie d'utiliser des moyens de torture, ça ne doit pas être admis. Et ça n'a rien à voir avec les horreurs de l'ISIS ou de Daesh. Ça nécessite éventuellement une intervention militaire, de les combattre sur leur sol. Mais ça ne nécessite pas que nous, dans nos territoires, nous admettons des méthodes qui sont prohibées par les conventions internationales et par les lois nationales à bon escient.
Clearly, all right-minded democratic politicians in the European Union member states and in the United States will condemn the use of torture. But clearly we have to retain the right to interrogate terrorist suspects. These individuals are very dangerous, and we have a real problem now with maybe 3,000 or more EU citizens fighting in Syria and Iraq for the Islamic State. Some of these individuals will come back to our countries. They may carry out terrorist attacks in our home countries. The authorities must retain the right to arrest these individuals if they suspect them of having been part of a terrorist organisation, and the right to interrogate them.
What are the big terrorist threats of the future?
En France, il y a énormément de facteurs qui jouent. C'est notre histoire coloniale, c'est le fait que nous avons laissé 4 millions de personnes qui sont des descendants des personnes qui ont immigré dans les années 70 ou avant. On les a laissés au bord de la route. l'état des prisons en France et dans beaucoup de pays européens est tel que c'est un lieu de radicalisation. Donc on ne peut pas simplement imaginer qu'il y a des méchants, comme disait Bush, il disait que c'est des bad boys, et des gentils. Je pense qu'il faut prendre les problèmes autrement plus au sérieux.
We're facing an organisation which is as totalitarian as a Nazi regime in power in Germany in the 1930s and 40s. This is an organisation which has absolutely no sense of the limits of what it can do or should do, the way it executes prisoners, sells women into slavery, carries out mass rape and so on, murders and torture, etc., burns prisoners alive, as we saw with the Jordanian the other day. This is a very, very serious threat. It has thousands of people now who joined up in this murderous, psychopathic cult.